name is Natalie Armstrong-Motin with Marketing Resolution. I'm so glad you're joining me for a Monday morning. I'm in the Idaho office. I've got my cozy cup of coffee and I'm ready to start the week off right, thinking about marketing, practice development, business, and entrepreneurship. One of the things that I wanted to start off talking about today is the idea of the difference between consumers, parties, and clients of ours having an interaction with us versus a transaction with us. And I think that this is an important distinction to make. And so to make my point really clear, I want to tell you a story about my weekend that might shine a bright light on the difference between an experience and an interaction. So as I said just a second ago, I'm in the Idaho office, and it's quite a commute to come from France to Idaho. I understand this. I do it frequently. It's not a big deal. So I get a friend to drive me to the train station, 20 minutes from my house in France, take a train. The train has an issue in France. I have to stop at the station, change trains, take a different train into Paris. Once I get to that train station, I have to take a taxi. I take a taxi to get to Charles de Gaulle Airport, check into my hotel because my flight leaves quite early the next morning. Wake up early, have my little coffee and croissant, get to Charles de Gaulle Airport, get checked in. The flight's a little delayed, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes delay. And I'm only flying to Frankfurt for a connecting flight to the United States. Shouldn't be a big deal, but it becomes a big deal. Let me tell you why. When we get to Frankfurt late, of course, there's no room for us at the gate because we're late. So they park us out on the tarmac and they send one of those stairs on wheels over so that the passengers can deplane. We deplane, we get into a shuttle, and they drive us to gate B22. Get off at B22, we go in, there's a customer service agent there that says, you have a connecting flight? I say yes, and I get sent to the left where I'm supposed to go through the border control and pick up my bags and recheck my bags and then get on to the next gate, which happens to be Z50. I'm currently at B22. My connecting flight leaves Z50. Get through border control, get my luggage, get it rechecked. The agent on the other end, I said, I've got a connecting flight. She says, no problem. You can make it if you run. I trust this person, and I ran. For all I was worth, I ran to the exact opposite end of the Frankfurt airport. I arrive at the other end in a complete lather, out of breath, sweaty. And the gate agent there looks at me like I've lost my ever-loving mind because obviously the plane has already departed and I've missed my flight. Okay, that's fine. I understand. So I go back down the tarmac. I find the customer service office, explain the situation, and they say, yeah, no problem. It's absolutely our fault. We apologize. The connection was too tight. The plane was late, etc. Let us put you up in a hotel for the night because there are no more international flights leaving to the United States today. That's okay. So they give me 2 train tickets, one to get to the hotel and one coming back to the airport. Give me a train ticket. They book my hotel room for me. They give me meal vouchers. So I find my luggage, get myself to the hotel, enjoy my little fettuccine Alfredo free dinner, enjoy my hotel room, do a little work on my computer. Up the next morning bright and early, haul my luggage all the way back to the train station, up and down the stairs, the train to the airport, get checked in. Everything's fine and dandy. I leave Frankfurt for Denver. Now, all of this is an experience. I bought an experience. I paid for an experience. I'm not new to travel, and I understand the social contract. I also understand the contract that I have with the airline and that the airline has with me to provide this service. So although this was not comfortable, it's not what I had thought would happen, they did their best to make me whole, to make it right, to make it a good and positive experience. And it was. Maybe not convenient, but it was a good experience all around. I arrived just fine in Denver, make my connecting flight to come to Idaho, not a big deal. I'll be at the Idaho office in plenty of time. At the Denver airport, though, now I want to describe to you what should have been a transaction. When I arrived at the Denver airport, we don't have a lot of Starbucks in France, and I was excited to stop at a Starbucks, get a big cup of coffee. And then I walked across the corridor from Starbucks to the little convenience store that we all find in every airport around the world because I wanted a Butterfinger candy, We don't get Butterfinger in France, and that's my favorite candy bar. And I really wanted to get a Butterfinger for my snack with my coffee. So I walked into the little convenience store, found my little Butterfinger candy, handed it over to the cashier. The cashier does the beep thing across the scanner, and I hold up my phone so that I can pay with, the no contact, the Apple Pay. It's an easy transaction. We all do it all the time. Held up my phone, and I looked at the cashier to give me my candy bar, and the cashier says, "Your transaction isn't complete." And I thought, "Isn't complete? I don't understand. You scanned the candy bar. I paid for the candy bar." And the cashier says, "Follow the instructions on the screen, ma'am." So I look down at the screen, and there's a variety of little red boxes with numbers in them, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then another box with an X. And I conceded I was tired, jet lagged. It's been quite a trip that, is double the amount of time that it should have been, et cetera. I said, "I don't understand what I'm looking at." And the cashier looks at me and says, "You have to choose how much you want to leave for a tip." And it just didn't compute. And I said, "I'm sorry, a tip?" And the cashier, with a kind of a snotty voice, says, "It's a service industry," and just leaves that hanging. And I look at this person, and I look back at the screen, and I touch the red X, grab my candy bar, and walk out. What should have been a simple transaction became an experience, not a great experience, but it should have just been a transaction. Now, in our industry, the ADR industry, we can draw a similar parallel. Going to court is a transaction. We're assigned a case number, we go to court. That's a transaction. The courts don't deal with people, they deal with cases, they deal with files. In mediation, we flip that over, and we want to make sure that people are the point of the process, not necessarily the transaction. The experience of going through mediation, the experience of being heard, the experience of telling your story, the experience of controlling your own issues, your complaints, your disputes, your conflicts. We put the people back in charge. It's people-oriented. That's an experience, not a transaction. And in this experiential environment of mediation, it doesn't just occur at the mediation table. We, as service providers, want to be sure that the experience starts right from the get-go. So for you and your practice development, we want to be sure that the experience is positive all the way through. And that starts from the first phone call. Now, lots of us are solo practitioners. And so while we're in a mediation, we obviously can't answer a phone if another client calls in with questions or issues or calendaring or something like that. And that can be off-putting to them. So if you're a solo practitioner, be sure that you have the ability to have a real person, an answering service, not a voice messaging service, but an answering service, a real person. Answer your phone. This is not a huge business expense on your end, but it's imperative that your clients get a personal service. So have somebody answer your phone. I promise you it does make all the difference. And again, it's not that expensive. Get a real person to answer the phone, take a message, connect with you. It could be the difference between getting a case or not getting a case, honestly. That's what it sometimes comes down to. So it's that first connectivity. And then it's the follow-up. And you know this, you don't need me to remind you, but it's the way that you treat your clients and the parties during convening. Are your forms easy to use? Are they convenient? Are they provided via a medium that's most appropriate for the people who are going to use them and fill them out? Is it an online fillable form? Is it an attachment? Is it available for hearing impaired, sight impaired? I mean, whatever the situation is, are your forms appropriate for your clients? Are they easy to follow, easy to move through? Are the steps clearly delineated? You need to do A and then B and then C. Or is it kind of always a little bit chaotic in your practice? Is there always sort of questions hanging over? Are you always sort of missing pieces from clients? If so, now's a great time to go back and clean up that process. Make the steps shorter, make the steps more clear, right? And then you're actually, when you're doing the work, it also should be a good experience. Now, maybe it's an online experience, in which case, before the mediation, you want to be sure that all of the clients, all of the parties have the right equipment and they know how to use that equipment. And I know that for you, this might be kind of a pain because you do it all the time and you're really good at it. For your clients, this might be a first experience. So one of the options that we have is to help them through it, either one-on-one, that works great, or sit down and record a video and create a tutorial, just a short tutorial wherein you share your screen and help them understand the equipment and the process and what it's going to look like. And when you do that, it lets them feel at ease with the process. And when our clients and parties feel more at ease with the process, they do better representing themselves. They feel more comfortable. They feel more empowered. They feel calmer. They feel more comfortable. And then settlement is obviously more likely to occur. And we want them to be in that comfortable space. We don't want them to be anxious or stressed about the processes. Hi, Alex. Thanks for joining. It's nice to see you. So we want that comfort. If you're hearing cases in person, some of us still have retained offices, but after COVID, a lot of us let our office space go. That's okay. Make sure that you arrive plenty early enough that you can be sure that the physical environment that you're hearing a case in is at its most comfortable. It's not always possible to be truly comfortable, but make it its most comfortable. Is it clean? Do you have all the supplies that you need? Are the bathrooms clean? Is it visually calming or appropriate or comfortable? You know what I'm talking about. Make it right for the situation. Make it right for the clients. Make it right for the parties. Make it the best that you can make it with all the snacks or the coffees or takeaway menus, whatever the situation might be. Make it the best that you can make it. Again, this kind of experience is important. And it's important because the better experience our clients have with us, the more likely they are to hire us again or refer us to colleagues. So it isn't just in the moment. This is practice development. This is your strategy for business development. And all of these little things that we're talking about today add up. There's a cumulative effect. Each piece is really important to building the big picture of how good you are, what great customer service you provide, how much you care about your clients, and how much you care about their experience. Good morning, May. Thanks so much for joining me. So we want to be able to provide a great experience because it does build our practice. It provides word of mouth referrals. It provides us with repeat clients. And it mostly really provides a great service to the parties, which is our ultimate goal, so that they have a good experience with the resolution industry as a whole. They likely aren't going to have more than one mediation in their lives. We hope not. But the representatives, the advocates, the counselors in the room, the attorneys in the room, this is their day-to-day. This is their quotidien. And we want them to come back to hire us. And we want them to come back and hire, if not us, a colleague of ours, because what's good for the industry is good for us. What's good for us is good for the industry, right? So that's the difference between a transaction and an experience. You can continue this great experience with your clients after the mediation. So after you finish the settlement, after you've done this great work, be sure that you follow up with your clients. Continue the good experience with a handwritten thank you note, or maybe a survey asking, how did you do? How did they like the experience? Maybe get a testimonial if that's appropriate for your practice, but continue to follow up. You can also continue to have conversations with them, add them to your LinkedIn account, or encourage them to have to sign up for your newsletter. Lots of different ways to continue the conversation. It's all about customer service. It's all about the experience. We are the service industry, and that is important. So we do have this fiduciary responsibility, I feel, to provide a great experience for clients and parties. And as a business person, I know personally that it makes all the difference in the world. It really does matter to establish all of these relationships that are so important for us. So I would be curious to hear from you. What is your favorite process? What is your favorite service point? How do you make every client interaction a better experience? Let me know in the comments. If you have questions, concerns, requests, you have something that you want to talk about in future episodes, be sure also to put that in the comments. But that's it for me. A nice, short, sweet Marketing Monday. Got my coffee. I'm ready to go for the next few days here. I hope that you have a great week also. I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Take care. Be good humans.